Pulsar will soon be releasing some very interesting products, and there are three main things to look at in this video. We are checking out the shape of the X2H, what's changed with the X2 version 2, and then we will of course talk about the performance of their whole new lineup with and without the 4K dongle. In terms of specs and performance, their whole new lineup is the same, as we have a Nordic MCU and of course the Pulsar 3395. Every mouse in the lineup is compatible with 4000Hz, but only the full speed dongle is included in the box. And with that setup you get a very good performance, as the motion latency matches that of the G Pro X Superlight, and the click latency is at least better than it used to be with their compact mice. I also found no issues with the polling stability, so I would say the performance is very respectable. Moving over to my results with the high-speed dongle, and the motion latency is very impressive. With 4K, about 0.3 milliseconds less latency than with the CA13C, and about 0.1 milliseconds less with 2K. Polling stability is solid with 2000Hz and 4000Hz, and it's even quite good with 1000Hz. Moving over to click latency, and we got very respectable numbers with the 4K dongle, about 0.96 milliseconds of click latency with 4000Hz, and about 1.2 milliseconds of click latency with 2000Hz. With 1000Hz we have the 2.1 milliseconds, which again is respectable, and these are all of course recorded with the lowest debound setting available. Overall, I would say that the performance is good, although it does not quite match up the Razer 4K, and there are still 1K mice with less click latency than these Pulsar ones with 4K. One thing to note about these performance graphs that I showed is that the LAMS results are not with the newest firmware. I will be testing the firmware early next week, so the video should be available for you guys Friday next week. A quick note about the X2 version 2 and what's changed. I have to be honest that most things are very similar to the previous X2s that I've owned. The two main things that I can feel is that the coding has been improved. This one feels pretty much just the same way as the Bruce Lee edition codings does. And the scroll wheel is now using a Pulsar Blue encoder, which feels very high quality, and the scrolling experience is very good. And that's it for the V2 update. Everything feels pretty much the same as previously, which is not a bad thing. Let's discuss the shape of the X2H, which is very interesting to me, as it is pretty much the X2, but with a more aggressive back hump. And that's pretty much exactly the difference that you will feel in hand, so right away you will notice that more aggressive back hump. There is also a slight difference with the side curvature, which is most obvious when the mouse flares out towards the back. In my opinion, that difference is mostly there to make the mouse feel more full in your hand. That is nice for aggressive claw, but this mouse does not feel too natural for relaxed claw, which is fairly normal when the hump is aggressive. The most similar mouse to the X2H will be the Cooler Master MM711, which does remind you quite a bit of the X2H because of the back hump, but the X2H Mini will feel a little bit less wide and a little bit smaller overall than the Cooler Master MM711. The X2H Medium then again is quite massive, and it will feel larger than the MM712 does in hand. Lastly, I will say that the LethalGamingGear OP1 does share some similarities with the X2H Mini, but in hand these do feel very different due to the hump placement and how aggressive and high profile it is. From the X2H Mini and the Medium, I quite easily prefer the Mini myself. If you have massive hands, the X2 Medium might be something you want to try, but overall the X2H Mini should be something that pleases you guys who especially want the aggressive claw. And finally, here are some shape comparisons from the side and the back profile with fade-ins. And as you maybe can see, the X2H does have some unique properties compared to many other mice, and it for sure does not feel like a clone, although it is inspired by many previous mice. That's basically everything I wanted to talk about in this video. I do not know the pricing, I do not know how much the 4K dongle will cost. All I know is that included in the box is only going to be the full speed dongle, and the performance is definitely decent already with that one. Battery life is also very similar to other 4K mice, so it's about 2 days of extensive use, so keep in mind that you will need to charge your mouse quite often. That's it for this one, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you in the next one.